The Bronze Age was a crucial period in human history, representing the second phase within the Age of Metals, which marked a major transformation in prehistoric societies. This era began around 3000 BC and lasted until approximately 1200 BC, bringing with it significant advances, especially in the field of metallurgy, that forever transformed the course of civilization. Through this process, the discovery of metal smelting allowed the creation of bronze, an alloy of copper and tin, much more resistant than the previously used metals by civilizations. Thanks to this advancement, new opportunities emerged for the creation of tools, weapons, and structures, which in turn boosted the growth of more complex and organized civilizations. If you are a history lover, subscribe now so you don't miss the most fascinating updates from around the world. What is the Bronze Age? The Bronze Age is known as one of the most relevant stages in prehistory, especially in the development of the first great human civilizations. It was a period that not only marked the discovery of the bronze alloy but also the consolidation of new forms of social organization, the beginning of writing, the emergence of city-states, and an increase in war due to the sophistication of weapons. It is a transitional stage between prehistory and history, in which human societies began to have written records and began to organize into more complex power structures. Characteristics of the Bronze Age. The main characteristic of the Bronze Age was the discovery of bronze smelting. This advancement allowed for the development of tools and weapons much more durable and effective than those made with more primitive materials such as stone or pure copper. Societies of this era began to group into city-states, and the need to govern these communities brought about the consolidation of more centralized political systems, as well as greater social stratification. War also became more sophisticated due to the use of improved weaponry such as swords, spears, and war chariots. Another important feature of this era was the creation of a writing system in some of the earliest civilizations, which allowed key information to be recorded for the administration of these societies. Social organization experienced major changes, with class differentiation between the ruling population and the common people. Likewise, military conflicts intensified as city-states competed for control of resources and territories. First civilizations of the Bronze Age. The most notable civilizations of the Bronze Age emerged in various parts of the world. In the region of Mesopotamia, considered the cradle of civilization, important advances in agriculture, architecture, and sciences took place. In this area, the first city-states such as Uruk and Ur were built, which pioneered the use of dikes and irrigation canals to improve agricultural production. In addition, the Mesopotamians were great experts in astronomy and mathematics, developing systems to measure time and make astronomical observations. In this context, the city of Babylon reached its peak during the reign of King Hammurabi, who unified much of Mesopotamia and established the famous Code of Hammurabi, which is considered one of the first written legal systems in history. This code was based on the law of retaliation, which established punishments proportional to the crime committed, and on the principle of innocence until proven guilty. On the other hand, in the region of China, the Bronze Age developed from around 1700 BC and continued through various dynasties. Despite the introduction of iron in other parts of the world, bronze metallurgy in China remained predominant for centuries, allowing for the development of weapons, tools, and high-quality ritual objects. Ancient Chinese civilization was also known for its skill in building large fortifications and creating writing systems that would deeply influence the country's history. In Europe, the pre-Hellenic civilizations such as the Minoans in Crete and the Mycenaeans in the Balkan Peninsula witnessed the expansion of bronze use in the manufacture of tools and weapons. The Minoans, who flourished on the island of Crete, established one of the first maritime societies, while the Mycenaeans, settled in mainland Greece, stood out for their advanced fortifications and their navigation skills. Stages of the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age is divided into three main stages that reflect the advancements and changes that took place in the technology, society, and culture of the civilizations of the time. Early Bronze Age, 3000 to 2000 BC. During this initial phase, human communities began using bronze tools in their daily activities. As agriculture was consolidated as the main source of subsistence, populations began to settle in more stable territories, which favored the development of trade and the formation of the first goods exchange networks. Middle Bronze Age, 2000 to 1600 BC. In this stage, agricultural and livestock activities intensified, and the domestication of the horse began, used both for agricultural work and for war. Societies experienced a greater degree of centralization, and cities began to expand, giving rise to the appearance of large urban centers and fortresses. In addition, the production of luxury goods such as jewelry and decorated bronze objects increased considerably. Late Bronze Age, 1600 to 1200 BC. The final stage of the Bronze Age was characterized by greater social differentiation and the concentration of power in the hands of small elite groups. The social structure became more complex, with a clear distinction between rulers and the ruled. Battles intensified, and civilizations began building walls and fortifications to protect themselves from enemy attacks. Furthermore, a transition process toward the Iron Age took place, which involved an important cultural and technological shift. End of the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age ended abruptly around 1200 BC. In a relatively short period, the great civilizations of the time, such as the Egyptians, the Mycenaeans, the Hittites, and the populations of the ancient Mesopotamian region, fell into chaos due to a combination of factors. It has been suggested that this collapse was the result of a series of natural catastrophes such as earthquakes, prolonged droughts, and other climatic disasters that caused famines, massive population displacements, and the collapse of trade networks. The fall of these great civilizations left a vacuum that was taken advantage of by nomadic peoples, such as the Sea Peoples, who invaded and looted many of the most important cities of the time. The disappearance of the great civilizations of the Bronze Age marked the end of a period of splendor and the beginning of a new stage in human history, known as the Dark Age. However, although the Bronze Age came to an end, the technological and social advances achieved during this period laid the foundations for the development of later civilizations, which continued to use bronze in their activities until the appearance of iron as the predominant material in the manufacture of tools and weapons. The Bronze Age was a fundamental stage in the development of the first great human civilizations. Through the discovery and use of bronze, the societies of this era achieved significant advances in various fields, from metallurgy to social organization, including war and writing. The civilizations of Mesopotamia, Egypt, China, and Europe played a crucial role in the creation of a more complex and structured world. Although the end of the Bronze Age was marked by the collapse of many of these civilizations, their achievements endured and left a legacy that would profoundly influence future generations. Although the shift to the use of iron represented an important change, the impact of the Bronze Age on human history remains evident, as it was in this period that the foundations of civilization as we know it began to take shape. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe and comment on what topic you would like us to explore in upcoming videos.